Hey guys, what's going on? Sai here and welcome back to the Boys RC channel. You have joined me into the workshop. As you guys can see, we've got some bits already on the workbench, all set, ready to go. This is episode 4 of our rebuild of the Tamiya Bruiser or HG P407 build. We are upgrading it, rebuilding it, just making it a little bit more better for the trials and everything like that. So let's turn the camera around and see what we've got. Right then guys, so moving on to the next step of the build, we've got the front axle housing, which is part 7 of the assembly instruction manual. The next part as well we are going to be covering in today's episode will be the knuckle arm assembly, which is step 8 as well. Now for this step, I've already got the first pieces laid out for step 7, which is the drive shaft for the front axle housing. Now looking at the instruction manual on here, you can see in this diagram here, you should have a little washer on there, which is the LS033. Now, I had a look around through the parts bin and everything like that. I haven't actually got that. I don't think my kit came with that. I've looked back at the disassembly footage and everything like that, and I did not see that part present. So I'm going to install without the washer because I haven't got anything spare at the moment to put into this kit. So will it affect anything? I have no idea. It's a very tiny little shim, so I've got no idea if it will make a difference or not. But yeah, we are installing new ball bearings as well on there. Just replace everything. From a lot of the guys with these kits, ball bearings are a necessity to replace pretty much on every single kit, I'd say, especially on this one, because they do like to break on you. I've seen a few broken on mine. So yeah, definitely recommend some good quality ball bearings on there. So let's go ahead. So we've got 2 little pieces here for the drive shaft. One's slightly longer than the other. That's absolutely fine. So you have to be very careful of the orientation. But what we need to do is take one of these anyway. The process of the assembly of these drive shafts is exactly the same as they are on each different side. So what we need to do is add a new ball bearing first. A little bit of a tight squeeze, and that should go right in here. That is absolutely fine. That will just be a little bit loose, but the little dog bone at the end will secure the ball bearing. Then what we need to do is add a C-clip into that little groove there and one into that groove here. So that's what we're going to do now. So we get one of the C-clips on here. I'll start with the one with the ball bearing just as we can secure that in place. Be very careful not to scratch the shaft as well. Okay, that one's in. Nice click, positive click on that. We get the next one. There we go. So that is nice and secure. That is not going anywhere at all. And that sits like so. Now moving on to the next part, so we've done the dog bones for the front axle housing, we've done the bevel gear and the front differential. That was done, front differential, that was done in the previous episode. So now what we have to do is cram everything together in the housing itself. So quite an easy one today. It's not going to be over too long. So what we need to do is first up grease everything up as normal. So as always, we are going to be using the Lucas extra heavy duty grease. This is a marine grease, so it's going to be waterproof as well. It's heavy duty as well, so perfect for this crawler / trail build. As always, make sure you have some thread lock as well, just to make sure everything's all nice and secure when it goes into the build. So let's go ahead and look at greasing everything up first. So what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of a paper towel and get the bevel gear done and out the way first. So just scoop a little bit of that on my old flathead screwdriver and just spread that around. Make sure there's plenty on there, like so. So that's very nice. So get that over here. Next one is what I'm going to do for this one here, that's for the differential, is I'm going to first remove the ball bearings. And there's already a little bit of grease on there because in the previous episode we had a little bit of an issue fitting this one this differential in the rear axle. Just for some strange reason, it just did not want to fit at all. So I'm just going to add a little bit more grease around. So that's something you have to watch out for, because there might be some differences in the differential and the molds for the axles. Although the instructions don't really tell you that at all. Perfect. So put those back on. That's the differential done. Now what we need to do is grease up a little bit of the dog bones, just out here, like so. Next one. Perfect. That will do. So now what we need to do is drop everything into this. So first things first, what we need to do is install the lock for the differential. So that is the way we need to install that. Get that just to make sure that lines up properly, which it does. Now what you need to do is drop this locking differential screw pin in there. That will go in like so, and just get your driver. I believe it's a 2mm. Is it 2mm? No, it's a 1.5. And before I forget, add some thread lock to that, because you don't want that pin going loose. There we go. So I'm not sure if it was just me, but I've encountered a little problem with the axle housing. So as you guys can see, if the camera focuses, you can see a grinding area, which I have just done with a Dremel. And that was just basically introduce a little bit more room in the housing itself. And that's on both sides here. You can see literally around here, here, a little bit here as well. Well, I just basically had to grind down some of this area in here, because the differential housing would not fit. Now I did have to put the old bearings on there, the ones that were actually decent as well. They're a little bit thinner, the ones I had purchased, so I thought I'd give those a try. That seems to have worked. So I'm not sure if anyone else has come across this issue where the differential with bearings wouldn't fit in the housing itself. Originally I thought it was just with the other bearing, the differential housing, sorry, with the other housing. I thought it was just not the correct part. But that seems to have fitted quite nicely in the other housing. This time around I had to resort into grinding down this area. So unfortunately I haven't been able to catch this on camera, because I wasn't too sure how well that was going to be, and I didn't want to obviously give you guys an idea, but that seemed to have worked. That definitely has seemed to have worked. So with a ballpoint kind of sanding stone as well for the Dremel, yeah, that seemed to have done really nice job, and it's really smooth as well in there. So I've got no concerns there whatsoever, and now that can fit into the housing, which is yeah, quite bizarre. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm really puzzled by this, because I literally thought it was going to be a nice and easy build, but I literally had to whip out some DIY skills for this one. And you can see now that barely fits in. That's really nice and snug. Before, the ball bearings and everything like that was catching on the end tabs here. Not sure if you guys can see, so you can see kind of about to make a little bit of adjustments there in terms of size, but now that seems to fit quite nicely, so hopefully that will do the trick. So yeah, let's move on with the build anyway. So now we need to, the housing and the dog bones are in. We need to put the bevel gear inside as well, like so. So that is nice. We've got loads of lube in there as well, or grease. So yeah, top cover is coming on, like so. That is all sorted out. So like I said, had to grind down the excess internally with a grinder or a Dremel. And that seems to have cured the imperfection I found in this particular housing. So do let me know in the comments below if you had any imperfections like so with your build. But yeah, moving on to the build now. I'm gonna have to fasten this down now with some screws. So we've got these longer screws here, so they're going to go into the fixing points here. Got a grub screw which is going to cover up that one there, and we've got a few little other screws which are going to go over here. So as always, make sure you use plenty of thread lock as well, just to make sure everything is nice and secure. And because these are the first screws that are holding down the axle itself, or the axle housing and the differential, I'm going to put them in a lug nut formation, so kind of like a star pattern, just to make sure everything is correctly fastened down. So start with this one here, put that one in. I'm not going to overly tighten that one just yet, just to make sure it's in just enough until I start feeling some tension, like so. Let's get the next one prepped. There we go. And that goes in the opposite side. You can start tightening this one down to the max. You can see that seam just close off completely, which is a good sign. Again, and now we just carry on. So yeah, I'm a little bit baffled by that, to be honest, with the axle housing, because I expected this to be a nice build, but I had to bring out some DIY and basically modify the housing myself to make the differential fit into it, which, you know, is built correctly. Everything's tightened, nothing loose or anything like that. That could result in the incorrect measurements of the housing or anything like that. Ball bearings were a little bit on the bigger side. The ones kit supplied ones are a little bit thin overall, but that shouldn't really affect it that much, to be honest. So I've never come across this building, you know, multiple kits and everything like that. It's a little bit of a weird one for me. So I'm hoping you guys will have some answers for me down in the comments below. So this is just the grub screw for the differential drain lock, and also for the diff lock as well. So you can put the differential locking pin through here, but honestly it's such a faff because you have to get the right hole, as we saw in the differential. You might as well not bother going that way, just disassemble the entire thing, because it will be a lot easier and even quicker probably. So moving on to the final bit of screws. So you've got 6 screws. These ones are going to go into the end bits here and here. So as always, plenty of thread lock, just to make sure everything stays nice and secure. A little bit too much there, that's okay, we can wipe the excess. last two now, and the front axle housing shall be complete. So yeah, overall, I feel much at ease taking this kit apart, because now I know there's plenty of grease. Got new ball bearings as well, just to ensure the operation is smooth, and you know exactly that it's been thread locked as well. So yeah, that is the front differential all done and sorted. We can move that to the side. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and assemble the knuckle arms. Right then guys, so step 8 now, which is the knuckle arm assembly. So this is going to go straight onto the front differential housings. You can see the mounting points here and here on each side, where the knuckle arm is going to be mounted on, like so. Now, in terms of mounting everything on this particular step, I'm not going to fasten everything down with thread lock. So what I mean is, I'm not going to do the link arm that connects the servo horn arm with the knuckle arms. I'm not going to do that just yet, or the ball joints as well. The reason for this is because there's two different variations, and I'm not 100% too sure which one I want to go ahead and do just yet. So I'm going to wait until the servo and the electrics are in, then I'm going to see what the ground clearance is like, what the best possible links are in terms of length and everything like that I do have currently in my arsenal, and then I can play around with different combinations and see how I want to mount those options there. So that's not really important. What the important steps are is the hardware for this. So we've got everything on here and the process of this. So what we need to do first up is add a LS26 ball bearing, which is the standard ball bearing you get majority of the time. That goes firmly into the knuckle arm, like so. Then what you want is this cup here that goes into there, and you can feel that nice and click on that. So you want to do that for both sides. So once again, get your knuckle arm assembly, get the ball bearing, make sure that goes in properly, and then get that and slide that in. There we go, that's in there. So next up, we're going to be fixing the knuckle arm onto the front axle housing. So I'm going to show you the foot step 1 of this, which is first you need to align the ball cup with the dog bone in there, so that goes in like so. Now there's two different variations you can have this. You can have it this kind of way, which is a more sleek kind of look, which is probably what I'm going to go with. Or I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube with guys having that mounted in this kind of orientation. Now, I'm not 100% sure which way I want this. So do let me know in the comments below which way is best. Now, from what I can see, this is a good way to for the steering linkage, because you're obviously going to need to connect the each of the knuckle arms together with a link, and that's a pretty good way. I wouldn't probably have it underneath it, because that's going to probably maybe ruin the ground clearance a little bit, but I'd probably have a ball joint up here, another ball joint up there, and connect a link that way. Alternatively, you can probably do the same on this side. So I'd see why not. There should be loads of clearance. So if I just show you this kind of orientation here as well, so ball joint up here, another ball joint here from the other side, and that should give a nice little clearance from here. So this is the way I'm going to go with first, I'd say, just because he looks a little bit neater from the front. Nothing wrong with the other way, but it's just obviously personal preference there. I'm going to try this first, see how I get on. If I don't like it, I can always change that around. That's not a problem at all. So let's go ahead and build that on there now. So you've got these little cups here, which you do need a little bit of grease on as well. So I've got a little bit of grease already on this. You've got ones with screws already on them. Not too much. So I'm going to make sure that dog bone and the cup is in. Like so, that is good. Then that goes in here. Oh, not like that. What you do want as well, let's get a bit of thread lock on that. Perfect. That's the first one there. Now the second one, get the little ball flanked washer in there. Get one of the screws, which is one of these. Thread lock. And tighten that down. There we go. Not a lot of steering angle on these. So if there's a way to improve the steering angle, do let me know down in the comments below, guys. Now, I have changed the arms around to the other way, just because although it doesn't look as nice as the other way that I originally wanted to have them, when I had one of the arms on and at full lock, I could see that this part here would cause issue because it was dipping due to the anchor on them. As you guys can see, holding that level, and you can see that is kind of offset on there, which causes that to dip at full lock. So yeah, that would have been hitting this bit here, and there wouldn't be enough clearance for that at all. So to save myself some trouble, swap them around like so, and I'm just going to have the bolt joints here and here for the steering linkage here, and that's going to be absolutely fine. That's not going to get anywhere near at full lock to hit the housing itself or anything like that, and nothing to get away or come in contact with as well. So yeah, that's just going to go up here. Now in terms of the knuckle arm link to the servo horn, I'm not too sure yet because I have no idea which way the servo is going to be and how long the reaches needs to be. So either way, it's going to go either like so or up like that. I'm not 100% too sure just yet on that. So that's going to be on hold for the time being. But for now, that is literally it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a like if you have. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. So take care and peace out.